What determines if the Quran is true regarding this? Is it the Quran itself, or is it my book?
In this particular instance, the Bible, in this particular instance, doesn't mean it's the only proof the Quran brings. In this particular instance, the Bible is, the scripture, the
Bible, it's okay.
That's the determining factor in this context.
Got you. So in this context, since the Bible is the determining factor, then in this context, the Bible is the authority over the Quran regarding this context, right?
I mean, it's a challenge that the Quran is bringing.
Yeah, so the Quran and this challenge, it points to the Bible as being the authority regarding this particular challenge, right?
Sure.
Hello, welcome to Religious Insight. Imagine trying to refute the argument against your religion but proves it instead. This is a case of a Muslim who tried to refute the Islamic dilemma but proves it instead. Let's watch this video to find out exactly what happened.
What's going on?
What's up, man? What's your religion?
Muslim. We've spoken once before.
Okay, nice.
Briefly.
Okay, so what's on your mind?
What's the is there a certain argument today, or?
Yeah, the Bible is the authority over the Quran. The Quran says that.
Where does it say that?
In 1094.
Can you bring it up?
Yes, I can. For you, I can do that. Let's see here. 1094. All right, and it says here. So if you are in doubt concerning that which we have revealed to you, I'm going to skip the brackets. Then ask those who are reading the book before you. Verily the truth has come to you from your Lord, so be not of those who doubt. I'm going to pick a translation that doesn't have all these brackets because that just makes it
What's
hard.
wrong with the bracket?
It's not part of the original text.
So you don't agree with the tafsir?
No, I don't necessarily not agree. It's just I like reading the pure text. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, you can bring up the Arabic or the English as well without the brackets.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. But yeah, so doesn't change at all. But yeah, you get it. So it tells Muhammad, if you're in doubt about that which we have revealed to you, then go and ask those who have been reading the scripture before you. The truth has come to you from your Lord, so don't be among the doubters.
Yeah, I mean, there's many ways to approach this verse that doesn't prove the authority of the Bible over the Quran.
Okay. Well,
you've probably heard the explanation before. So the first part of this is a hypothetical impossibility. So the Prophet was never in doubt. For the next part, it's asking, then ask those who have been reading the scriptures before you, the truth has certainly come to you. Yeah, so the disbelievers, if they're in doubt, they could go and read their scriptures and find the Prophet in the scriptures.
If they're in doubt about what?
About the stories that the Prophet has come with.
Where?
In the Quran.
So if they're in doubt about the Quran, what are they told to do to check the Quran to see if it's right?
If I go to a Christian, I'm obviously not just gonna tell him his religion is false because Islam is true. So I would tell him I would show him where the Prophet is mentioned in their book.
So according to this verse, what does the Quran say for those who doubt to do in order to check the Quran to make sure it's correct?
Yeah, I just explained it. It's telling the disbelievers to check their book in order. And when they look at their book, they'll find the Prophet mentioned in it.
So to check their book to make sure the Quran is telling the truth, right?
As one of the evidences to show that the Prophet is a true messenger.
Right. So to make sure that the Quran is telling the truth, right?
So to prove that the Prophet is a true messenger and the message he's bringing is
true,
not out of anywhere.
That is true. That is from God, right?
Yeah, it's one of the evidences of the truthfulness of the Quran, not like the only and ultimate proof.
Nobody's saying that
it's a good way for Christians to find the truth.
Not just Christians, but the Muslims, right? Because it's talking to Muhammad here.
The Quran speaks. I mean, Allah speaks to the Prophet in many places, but it could be the target of it could be towards the.
You can say could. You can say could and maybe, but what we have very plainly is that the Quran, Allah's talking to Muhammad, right?
Who else is he gonna talk to? I mean, he's the one that's bringing the message.
Well, whenever Allah wants to address the people, He tells Muhammad say, and He tells him to say this to them. But here he's talking directly to Muhammad about, doubts that he might have and what he should do if he ever doubts.
Yeah, but we already spoke about the doubt part, that it's an impossibility. So it could be towards the Prophet.
That was your claim. I don't agree with that. That doesn't make any sense. That it's impossible for him to doubt. It's very possible for him to doubt. Now, if you don't believe that he did doubt, that's fine. But saying that it's a impossibility, that makes no sense. So if you want to say that
evidence.
If you want to say that he didn't doubt, I can go with you. I can grant you that he didn't doubt. But what is he supposed to do if he did?
Not just that he didn't doubt. It's impossible for any prophet to doubt.
You can say that all you want. What if he did doubt? What is he supposed to do?
If he did doubt, so I said there are many ways to approach this. So there are some scholars that say this is towards the disbelievers.
My question is super simple, my brother.
I already answered it. I told you. One of the ways to see the truthfulness of the prophet is to check your book. Check the book with the disbelievers.
So you need to check my book to see if the Quran is true, right?
It's one of the evidences for its truthfulness. It's not the only.
So is that a yes? One of the ways to check the truthfulness of the Quran is to use my book to check the Quran, right? Okay. So now,
there's nothing wrong with that.
I got you. So if the Quran is not in line with my book, then the Quran will be false, right?
It depends. So in this context, it's speaking about the Prophet being in your book. So if the Prophet is not in your book, then the Quran would be false.
Awesome. So what is the determining factor on if the Quran is true or false regarding this matter? Is it the Quran itself, or is it my book?
I already answered that. I said it's one of the evidences for the truthfulness of the Prophet.
If you can answer straight away with what I'm asking, because you don't got to repeat that. I'm asking just a straightforward question. So what is the determining factor? What determines if the Quran is true regarding this? Is it the Quran itself, or is it my book?
In this particular instance, the Bible, in this particular instance, doesn't mean it's the only proof the Quran brings. In this particular instance, the Bible is the scripture, the
Bible, it's okay.
That's the determining factor in this context.
Got you. So in this context, since the Bible is the determining factor, then in this context, the Bible is the authority over the Quran regarding this context, right?
I mean, it's a challenge that the Quran is bringing.
Yeah, so the Quran and this challenge, it points to the Bible as being the authority regarding this particular challenge, right?
Sure. There's nothing wrong with that.
I love that. So
it's one of the
awesome
evidences.
Nice. So as we got through this, the Bible in this context is the authority over the Quran. If the Quran isn't in line with the Bible in this matter, then the Quran is false. So let's put it to the test now. The Quran says that Muhammad is mentioned in the gospel. Where is he mentioned?
Yeah, so that's not my area. But the best argument I've heard is the Matthew 22. I think is a good argument from what I've heard. But again, awesome. This is not my area.
It's okay. If you think that that's a good argument, I think it's worth going over to see if it's a good argument. Okay. So Matthew 22, and here's what it says here. And again, Jesus spoke to them in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son, and sent his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding feast, but they would not come." So question, just because we're plugging in the parables, I did this with the previous guest who brought this up. In this parable, who is the king?
Yeah, again, so I barely gone over this, but the king in this, so if I read it now, the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son. I would say God.
I agree. And so God is the king who gave a wedding feast for his son. Who's his son? Who's God's son?
Jesus.
And you're saying that this is a parable that points to Muhammad, that declares that Jesus is God's son?
Yeah, so lots of classical scholars of Islam say that language was acceptable for that time.
Can you show me?
Yeah, hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Do you know Ibn Taymiyyah?
Yes.
Okay, he's one of them. He's one of the people who has.
Yeah, I want to see him. I want to see him affirm that Jesus is God's son.
Okay, hold on one second. I mean, like, let's not just turn it into a father-son.
That's important, right? Because the if you're going to say that a prophecy about Muhammad is like this is a prophecy about Muhammad, then the Aqidah, the theology, has to be consistent. Wouldn't you agree?
No, not really, because there are some things that were abrogated. There's different sharias. There's different.
Yeah, but is the Aqidah of Jesus contradictory to the Aqidah of Muhammad?
What do you mean when you say that?
The theology, what he knew about God, what he taught about God. Was it contradictory to what Muhammad taught?
What, in terms of what he taught about God?
Yeah, about who and what God is.
No, but certain terms and certain language would have been different, or some of the laws, for example.
I'm talking about contradictory. You can't have, for example, you can't say that God is the Father and you're God's son, and then somebody else come and teach, no, God doesn't have children in any way, and whoever says that you are God's son, then you're committing shirk. Those are completely opposite views. Wouldn't you agree? So
if it's in the correct meaning, as the scholars have explained, then there's no contradiction.
Okay, I want to see that. I want to see you demonstrate that the scholars affirm that Jesus is the Son of Allah in a correct way, and then I want you, after you show me that, I want you to demonstrate to me in what way Jesus means that he's the Son of God, that he means it in the way that the scholars have interpreted, that's okay when Allah says it's completely wrong.
So it's in the book Al-Jawab Al-Sahih.
Can you show it?
Like screen share?
Yeah. Are you on your phone or a computer, or what are you on?
No, I'm on my phone. I'm not in the house right now.
Okay. I think you can still screen share, if I'm not mistaken. Do you see a TV button? Like it looks like a TV screen emote?
Hold on one second, because I have to go on the book, and it's probably like a lot of pages. I mean, you're probably familiar with that passage. You've never seen that before?
I've never seen Ibn Taymiyyah affirm that Jesus is Allah's son. I've seen some maybes and probablys. If this was used, then it could be in the correct, in some type of way or sense. I've seen a vague quote like that, but I haven't seen an affirmation of Allah actually being a father and actually having a son in a true way, in a correct way, or affirming that Jesus actually is the Son of God.
I don't think they say that Allah was 100% called Father in the past, but they argue for both sides. So they say
it's a lot of maybe.
They say if that were the case, then it would still be acceptable for that time period.
Yes, I want to see where he affirms it. So he doesn't affirm that Jesus is God's son? Let me ask you this. Would it be shirk to affirm that Jesus is God's son?
If we mean equal to God's nature, then yes. But if we mean as a metaphor for love and care, then no.
Can you show me where Allah affirms this? Or Muhammad?
So the Quran, so Islam argues against that language.
Really? You don't say. Does it argue against just the language, or does it argue against the concept, period?
It argues completely against using that language because of what happened with the Trinity.
Show me where the Quran explains that it says don't use this language because people got it wrong, got it confused and messed it all up. Where does he say that? Let me ask you this too, by the way. You refer to Allah as Lord, right? Like Rabb?
Yeah, Rabb.
Did people misuse the term Rabb, the term Lord, for creatures that they worshipped and stuff?
Yeah, but that's different.
Why is it different? People misuse the term Lord, Rabb. Why did Allah still use that title for himself?
I mean, there still has to be a name to call God. I mean,
you could just call him Allah, right?
Yeah, but no one has taken the word Allah and turned it into a trinity, for example.
Before Muhammad came, they took the name Allah and applied to him 2 daughters.
Yeah, those were the pagans.
Exactly. So even the pagans misused Allah, didn't they?
Yeah, that's true. But so
we got all these type of titles and names that pagans have used for their idols and false gods, and yet Allah still holds tightly to these titles, to these names. But Father is like, oh man, people misuse this, so I can't We can't use this language anymore. That you see how that logic is inconsistent, and the Quran never says that.
I mean, Allah would still be a name that Christians used at the time, but the term father and son, that's...
You're right. Matter of fact, guess who the Quran says the Christians called Allah? Who does the Quran say the Christians called Allah?
What's the verse?
Chapter 5, verse 73. I'll pull it up.
So,
Guess who the Quran says the Christians said Allah is? This is going to blow your mind. I'm sorry, it was 72. 572. It says, let me put it on the screen so we can all see it. It says, they have certainly disbelieved who say, Allah is the Messiah, the son of Mary. What? They're saying that the Messiah is Allah. Aren't they misusing Allah?
yeah,
They're misusing it, right?
they're attributing they're saying that Messiah is Allah.
Right. So they're misusing the term Allah and applying it to what you guys would think is a creature, right? A mere human being, right?
Yeah, it's a false attribution, attributing the...
Exactly. It's a
Allah
false attribution
being the Messiah.
Islamically. But yet Allah still keeps this title, Allah. So he can keep Allah, who they say is the Messiah, or who some of the pagans say has a few daughters and whatnot. He keeps Rabb, Lord, who the pagans apply this title to their idols and their statutes and false gods all over the places. The Greeks and the Romans, all this. Everybody used the term Lord for their false gods, and yet Allah still keeps these titles for himself. But the title he cannot keep, because people misused it and misattributed it, is Father. He abandons that language. Is consistent?
Religion, that was like the biggest religion, like the belief of one of the biggest religions, Christianity. So arguing against some small pagan group in Arabia or some group here or there, I mean, that's false.
I think that your reasoning is on murky water, bro. One, these are the two things that I have working against your argument here. One, the Quran never says what you're saying. It never says, oh, you can't use the language of father and son because the Christians misused it. It never says that. It just simply goes against the concept of Allah being a father at all. That's number one. Number two, you have, if your argument is inconsistent,
no, I mean,
you have,
if you read Surah 112, where it says Allah does not beget nor is he begotten.
I got you. Let me even go with you. I'm gonna even notice how I can give you your position, and I'm gonna show you how it makes things worse.
No, I'll admit you're a good debater, because
thank you.
You give people's like you give them their point, and then you
I show how it doesn't work, right?
Yeah, like you give them their point, and then it still doesn't work. So let me go against it.
Yeah, let me show you even further. So with your point that Christianity was like the top dog religion, so Allah has to nip that in the bud, so that he doesn't really have to worry about the lower ones, right? But look, the ones that are saying that the Messiah is Allah, those are Christians, right?
Those are the Christians, yeah.
So the biggest religion is misusing the term Allah and applying it to a mere creature according to Islamic standards. So wouldn't that mean that Allah, since the biggest religion, and he has to deal with the biggest religion and how they're using terms and words, that he should, since he squashed out father, since the biggest religion was using father and son for Jesus, and they're misusing this, shouldn't he also squash the term Allah? Because the biggest religion, the Christians, are using it for Jesus?
You want Allah to erase all of his names because all of them were misattributed?
Based on your logic, on your argument, that's what should be happening. If that's how Allah functions, because people misattribute certain titles and certain words, therefore he squashes those words. And he says this is forbidden now in the Sharia. Then that should be consistent. That means that the word Allah should be squashed.
Too extreme. Just because he abrogated certain terms doesn't mean he should abrogate every single, all the other names.
You see how you're shifting it now? Like, come on, man. It's either Allah squashes names that people misattribute, or he doesn't.
Allah chose Christianity. He chose that part. He just chose that, for example. I mean,
yeah. So why did he keep Allah when Christians were using Allah and calling the Messiah Allah? Why didn't he squash that?
I can't say what God thinks and what he like.
But you are telling me what he thinks. 'Cause when you tell me that Allah doesn't, he disqualified that language because the Christians misused it, you're telling me what Allah thinks. Because Allah doesn't say that. Nowhere does he say that. You're telling me that. You're telling me what Allah thinks. Now you can't tell me what Allah thinks here because it's not consistent. It's not a consistent method.
So I gave you the verse in Surah 112. Allah is arguing against the idea of begetting. So that's a good verse to look at to understand that Allah is against having a ontological son where he's begetting literally another person.
That's a good point. I agree with you that Allah explicitly goes against begetting. Can I show you that he goes against figurative sons as well?
I think there's one verse which I don't have the answer for right now. It's I think Surah Maryam, but if you can show me other verses, then
you're good, man.
You can go over.
Chapter 19, Surah Maryam.
No. Like, show me like another one.
Why another one?
Let's go. Okay, let's go over this one then. Let me see what the scholars say about this. What's the verse and surah?
1988. I have it on the screen.
All right, let's see it.
It says, and they say the most merciful has taken a son, not begotten, has taken a son. That's not a literal son, is it?
They say the most merciful.
You can read Arabic?
Yeah, I can read Arabic.
Oh, good. You want me to put the Arabic up above this? I can't read it, so I'll be trusting you, man. Let me do this. There you go.
All right, hold on. وَقَالُوا الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا. Yeah, I mean, the literal translation is they said that Allah has taken, the most merciful has taken a son.
So that's not begetting. That's just taking a son. That's like adoption or like maybe choosing somebody to be a son to him, in a metaphorical or figurative way, not a literal way, right? You with me so far?
I mean, I'm trying to think how it disproves the metaphor as well, because...
Well, let's see. Can we agree that this is not literal? When it's not that he's begetting a son, but he's taking a son. So he's choosing a son or something like that. He chooses somebody to be his son or whatever. So it's like a figurative or metaphorical relationship he has.
I mean, it could be figurative to begetting. I mean, I'm trying to...
Figurative to begetting?
Or...
You don't take a son that you beget, that son just comes forth from you, period.
Or it could mean that they say that Allah has a son.
Yeah, it says the most merciful has taken a son. And it says, what does it say next? It says, you have done...
So what I'm getting from you is that Matthew 22 does not apply for the Prophet because of the father and son.
The theology is contradictory to Islam, so it can't possibly be about Muhammad.
So let's say somehow I refuted the claim that father and son. Let's say I proved that father and son may have been used in the past. No. Let's say that. Let's say. I mean, what is that? The only thing that's blocking this,
brother?
This verse.
That's step one. If you how in the world can you fathom a passage to be about your prophet if his theology doesn't pass the very first stanza, the first verse? How is that possible?
The thing is, like, you have the major classical Muslim scholars who argue against what you're saying. So
no, they don't.
I'll take their position over a YouTuber's position.
So that's cute. That's cute. What you would have to do is, if you're going to hang on with their position, is you're going to have to prove that their position is substantiated in your Sunnah and your Quran, bro. You can't just appeal to authority. Oh, this scholar says this, so there's scholars that disagree.
Yeah, but if we have these major scholars saying that means that there's good evidence to suggest.
According to what? See me, I'm a different breed, my brother. I'm the type that would say, where is this so-called scholar getting this from? That's the type of breed I am.
No, that's good. That's good. So I gotta go read their work, see where they got it from the Quran, where they got it from the Sunnah, how they came to the conclusion. And I haven't done that. I haven't read all of their works on this particular topic.
I would love for that to be like your literal next step, so we can talk about this more next time.
I'm going to, because I think you bring this up a lot. A lot of Christians bring this up a lot. So I'm gonna go read about, not just take their word. I'm gonna see where they derive this claim from.
Okay. So until then, we can scratch Matthew 22 off the box. So where in the world is Muhammad mentioned in the gospel?
I've heard some Muslims say that the verse where it's referring to the Holy Spirit to come and it's uncorrupted, but there's no evidence for that. But that in its original form, it would have been pointing to the Prophet.
According to what?
Yeah, I don't really take that.
So you agree that that's a silly view because it has no evidence backing it. It's just a absent basis.
I mean, the evidence would be circular if I go to a Christian and say, because Islam is true, in its uncorrupted version, the Prophet is mentioned there. I've read a little bit about what the Paraclete actually means and all of that, but yeah, I don't think that's a very strong.
It's one of the weakest. There's no argument to be had there
because of the context of what it's saying. So
then nowhere then, huh? We ain't got Muhammad in the gospel, huh?
There's Matthew 21 as well that a lot of Muslims bring up about.
Do you agree with that?
I think it's a good argument.
Okay.
I think Matthew 21 and 22 are.
Well, you can't say 22. We scratched 22 off already until you do further research on.
Sure, I'm gonna research it more. No problem.
Okay, but let's do 21 then. Matthew 21. You sure?
Like before we even went into all of this, I told you like this is not my area.
You did. There's nothing, bro. Like this is you came off already humble, so there's nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing at all. We're just going through it,
but we
reasoning together.
I'll see your arguments.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a hint. It's gonna be very similar to the last argument.
But don't use father-son argument because I already said I'm gonna go through that. So because that language is all over the Bible.
Man, say that again. That language is where?
Yeah, it's all over the Bible, but
so all over the Bible is contradicting the Quran.
However, when you go from Mark, Matthew, and Luke, I think the amount of times father is used in comparison to John, it's like a 70 times difference or something. But it's still a language used.
There's a difference, but that don't matter. He still refers to God as his father and he the son all the time. In Mark, in Matthew, in Luke, doesn't matter. All you need is one. So what?
That could be some kind of evidence for someone to present that Jesus probably didn't use that language too much.
That doesn't make any sense at all. When you have literally him doing it in all the Gospels, it doesn't matter. And all you need is one time. If he uses it one time, the Quran's done. So all right. So Matthew 21, this is the parable you're talking about. So he says, here another parable. There was a master of a house who planted a vineyard and put a fence around it and dug a winepress in it and built a tower and leased it to tenants and went into another country. When the season for fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the tenants to get his fruit. Now, let's do the same thing we did last time. Who is the owner of the wine press in this parable?
So
you got the master of the house who loans his vineyard to tenants, and he goes away for a while, and he's going to come back and get it. But he sends his servants to bear the fruit.
I think the tenants are the Jews here.
Agreed. Who's the owner?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to read the whole thing. I think Jesus or God. I mean, one of.
It'll be God, the one who's the Father. It'll be the one who sends his servants. Because who would the servants be who keeps coming to the Jews? All right, maybe here it is. It says, when the season for fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the tenants to get his fruit. And the tenants took his servants and beat one, killed another, and stoned another. Again, he sent other servants, more than the first, and they did the same to them. So the owner kept sending servants to the tenants, the Jews, but the Jews kept killing them, abusing them, and beating them.
Yep.
Who are the servants?
The prophets. So the Jews kept killing the prophets.
Yep. And the owner is God who keeps sending the prophets, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Then watch this. It says, finally, he sent his son to them, saying, they will respect my son. But when the tenants saw the son, they said to themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him and have his inheritance. So just really quick, because this touches to your point on, well, Jesus claims to be the Son of God in the correct sense. The Son here will obviously be Jesus, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Now, so Jesus says that this is the Son and that the Jews kill him. Does that line up with Islam that Jesus was killed?
So when you were reading it, it said they wanted to kill him.
No, it doesn't say it does. It says they killed him. I'll do it again. But when the tenants saw the son, they said to themselves, "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him and have his inheritance." And they took him and threw him out of the vineyard and killed him.
Okay, yeah, that's where they kill him.
So
yeah, and a Muslim could probably say, I mean, they killed him in appearance.
It doesn't say that though. Jesus doesn't say they appeared to. It says he says they killed him. They unalived him. It's over.
It was still, Muslims could still use it. He was killed in appearance. He was killed.
Does he say the son was unalived in appearance, or does he say the son is unalived? Come on, brother, be honest, man. Please don't be like that.
It just says he was killed.
It does give the details. What do you mean it doesn't give the details?
No, it says he was killed. It doesn't say.
So does it say he was appeared to have died, or does it say he actually died?
It just says he died.
Thank you. So there is no appearance that he died. He died. Does the Quran line up with this?
Even if you're not gonna take it, I think we can still say because he died in appearance.
Why wouldn't I take that? Why wouldn't I take that?
It doesn't have to say in appearance. I don't see the point.
Why wouldn't I take that though?
Because the gospel speaks about like the actual death of Jesus.
Even if it didn't later on, why wouldn't I take that right here? Why wouldn't I take that ad hoc, stupid interpretation right here?
So if it says he was killed, there are many ways he would have been killed. He would have been killed through crucifixion, stoning, in appearance. There are many. Like it doesn't.
You can't be. If you're killed in appearance, are you killed?
According to the viewers, yes, you are. But literally,
brother, I'm gonna be real with you, man, because now you're getting to that level of straight up stupidity. Like at first we were able to reason together. Right now, your dishonesty is turning to stupidity, bro. Stop being this dishonest where you sound dumb, please. And I'm not saying this as an attack on you because I like you. I'm serious. Do not be those guys who are so dishonest that they don't care how stupid they sound, that they're just going to be dishonest because they're freaking Muslims. Don't be like that, man. Please.
Yeah, I hope when you guys read like prophecies that
I have the same standard, bro. Same freaking standard. You will never have me looking at the Quran or looking at a Bible verse and it says they took him, but no, it looked like they took him. Even though it says they took him, but no, they didn't really take. You will never see me doing nothing as stupid as that. That's so dishonest. It's intellectually, spiritually dumb. And I'm asking you not to be that. Don't be that. Okay? If you appear to be killed, are you killed? Yes or no? He left, man. I didn't kick him. He left. Insane. Muslims, man. Instead of being honest with, guys, we're all looking at the same thing. We're looking at the same words. Instead of being honest, what he decides to do is be as dishonest as possible, looking as dumb as possible, and then would rather leave it like that than be honest and be like, you know what, man? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's not a good method. That is pretty illogical. That's pretty inconsistent. And that would be just us being biased because we're Muslim. That's the only reason why I'm saying this is because I'm Muslim. And when the truth and the facts go against what I believe as a Muslim, I have to disengage with the truth and cope somehow and come up with some type of mechanism, no matter how dumb, no matter how foul, no matter how stupid, no matter how dishonest it is. I have to do that because I am a Muslim. Don't you get it, Avery? Don't you get it, Avery? I know you see me as a human being, Avery. I know you're trying to reach me as a fellow image bearer of the Most High God, but I'm a Muslim, Avery. At the end of the day, I'm a Muslim. You see me as a human, but I'm a Muslim. You can show me all you want, Avery. Don't you get it? Don't you get it, Avery? You can show me until you're purple in your face. I will lie. I will play dumb. I will be dishonest with whatever goes against my Quran and my belief as a Muslim. Not even the Quran, guys, because they raise their scholars above the Quran. Quran says Jesus is not the Son of God. Scholar says, oh yeah, if Jesus did say that he is the Son of God in a correct way, scholars over Allah, scholars over their Prophet Muhammad, they're Muslim.
Welcome back, guys. That was very amazing and very educating. Share your thoughts, share this video, subscribe, and don't forget to like this video as well. Most times it is very important to use the argument of these guys against them. Turn the table around and you watch how their argument crumbles. Like telling them that you don't believe in any of their Quran that is here today. It's been corrupted unless you see an original written Quran from the time of Muhammad in Arabic. If not, then all of these current versions are corrupted and have been changed. People change Allah's word, abrogated the verse, lied, made up stuffs, and so many other things that they did in the Quran. So none are reliable and they cannot be trusted. So they should go and blame Uthman ibn Khalif and other Muslim scholars that tampered with the Quran in the past. So if you turn this argument against them and you watch how they crumbled, because that is the same line of argument they always use against Christians. When you prove their argument wrong, they will in turn tell you that the Bible have been corrupted even when they don't have any proof. But in this case, we have proofs of how Uthman burnt some part of the Quran that he did not agree with and other things that he did to corrupt his Quran. Talking about Muhammad being in doubt, it is obvious that Muhammad would have been in doubt. That is why I believe Allah brought this verse. Quran is Muhammad's understanding, his questioning and his revelation, which confirms here that Muhammad was doubting and he knew he would find the real truth in the Bible. That is why Allah asked him to go and ask the people of the Bible or those who have read the scripture before you. I don't just like to squash this claim Muslims make regarding Muhammad never doubting. Was it not Muhammad who tried to throw himself off a mountain because he thought he wasn't a real prophet? Now, this may sound awful lot like Muhammad was doubting his prophethood. If he was not doubting, why would he stand on the edge of a cliff and trying to throw himself off because that he don't believe that he's a prophet enough or that he is a prophet? So if it is impossible for any prophet to doubt, I think it is pretty safe as to assume that Muhammad wasn't actually a legitimate prophet, because if prophets are not supposed to doubt, then Muhammad is doubting his own prophethood, then it means that he was never a prophet in the first place. Claiming the terminology used to describe God changes over time. To explain the difference in theology between Jesus and Muhammad is seriously desperate, especially when you consider the Quran's take on God being a father. Do they really believe anyone is going to swallow this nonsense that they always bring up with this comparison between Jesus and Muhammad, when it is obvious that Muhammad is the one lying here? Thank you guys for watching. Share this video, subscribe. I'd love to see you in the next episode.